wrong that we do to God each day. How long can we stand strong? And all I got is one question left. If we turn our backs and spit in his face, is God still gonna bless the USA?
A young stranger to the Alps was making his first climb accompanied by two stalwart guides. It was a steep, hazardous ascent, but he felt secure scaling the mountain between them. For hours they ascended, and now breathless they reached the summit. The guide ahead wished to let the stranger have the first view and let him go ahead. Forgetting the gales that would blow across the summit rocks, the young man took a step, but the chief guide dragged him down and said, "On your knees, sir. You are never safe here except on your knees." Reading Patriots, I'm Perry Green, and this is God in America. The Bible consistently teaches us that prayer is a vital part of our journey with God. The traditional position for prayer is kneeling, as in Daniel 6, verse 10. When Daniel knew that the document had been signed, he went to his house, where he had windows in his upper chamber open toward Jerusalem. He got on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he had done previously. James, the Lord's brother, was also known as James the Just and earned the nickname Old Camel Knees because of the thickened skin that formed from years of kneeling in prayer. Today, let's compare 2 NFL quarterbacks who publicly knelt on the sidelines. The NFL applauded one and criticized the other. Colin Kaepernick, former quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, ignited a countrywide debate by kneeling during the national anthem at NFL games starting in the preseason of 2016. His gesture was not prayerful. It protested racial injustice, police brutality, and systemic oppression faced by African Americans in the United States. Kaepernick stated, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color." He said that even though as a black man he had risen to a position of prominence and wealth in the NFL. Kaepernick's protest divided fans and bystanders. Supporters praised him for his courage and for highlighting significant issues. Critics accused him of disrespecting the flag and the military. His actions ignited discussions about patriotism and the proper ways to protest. Tim Tebow was known for his exceptional skills on the football field and for his unwavering faith and commitment to prayer. Tebow demonstrated the importance of prayer as he knelt to pray before and after his games at the University of Florida and in the NFL. One of the most memorable moments of Tebow's prayer life was during the 2009 BCS championship game. With John 3:16 written on his face with eye black, Tebow led the Florida Gators to victory. This simple act of faith had a profound impact. The Bible verse became one of the most searched items on the internet, highlighting the influence of Tebow's powerful, prayerful message. The numbers 3, 1, and 6, as in John 3:16, became prominent for Tim. These statistics from the January 8, 2012 playoff game for the Denver Broncos seems more than coincidental. On that day, he threw for 316 yards exactly for the Denver Broncos. He ran for an average of 3.16 yards per carry. The Nielsen TV ratings peaked at 31.6 in that game. Pittsburgh's time of possession was 31 minutes and 6 seconds. Tebow broke a quarterback playoff record for average yards per completion in that game with 31.6 average yards per completion. The morning after Tebow's 316-yard game on January the 8th, 2012, the number one Google search in the world was again John 3:16, with 75 million searches. The game in 2012 turned in Denver's favor when the Pittsburgh quarterback threw an interception. In the entire game, Ben Roethlisberger had only thrown one interception, and it was on 3rd down with 16 yards to go. I have a strong bias favoring Tim Tebow's kneeling over Colin Kaepernick's. What surprised me was the NFL's reaction to the two men. They criticized Tebow and catered to Kaepernick. Since that time, we've seen Kopernik's causes for what they were, blatantly anti-American and Marxist, bent on dividing the nation. Today, various contemporary, collegiate, and professional athletes are courageously honoring Jesus for their accomplishments. We've seen teams gather around a seriously injured athlete to pray for their recovery. Tim Tebow and others willingly knelt to invoke God's blessing on their lives, their teams, and even their opponents. The NFL owes Tim Tebow an apology for how they handled his right to pray, and an apology to America for how they dealt with Colin Kaepernick's irreverent protest. Tebow or Kaepernick, which knee do you take? Prayer powerfully connects us with God. The Queen of England, nicknamed Bloody Mary back in the 1500s, said, "I fear no man, I only fear the prayers of John Knox." Our American ancestors depended on prayer and God answered. We've seen the picture of George Washington kneeling in the Valley Forge snow, but that's not the only time he knelt. It was said that one could identify Washington in Congress because he was the one who dropped to his knees in fervent prayer during the opening session. An interesting occurrence, for he normally stood to pray. Connecticut Governor Jonathan Trumbull was one of George Washington's confidants. He experienced the effects of prayer and stated, "The examples of holy men teach us that we should seek him with fasting and prayer, with penitent confession of our sins, and hope in his mercy through Jesus Christ, the great Redeemer." Well, thank you for being with us today. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe to our podcasts. You can go to godinamerica.com and download the app. And until next time, let's keep the light of taking to our knees for God and our country burning.
Yeah, if we turn our backs and spit in his face.